High in the Andes Mountains, an incredible empire built cities in the clouds without using wheels or iron tools. The Inca created the largest empire in the Americas, with roads stretching thousands of miles, buildings that fit together perfectly without cement, and a mysterious city that stayed hidden for 400 years. Ready to explore Machu Picchu and discover the amazing Inca civilization? Let's go! Hello, young historians. Welcome back. Today, we are climbing to the top of the Andes Mountains to discover the ancient Inca, a civilization that built an empire in one of the most difficult places on Earth. Get ready for an amazing adventure. The Inca Empire was the largest empire in pre-Columbian America. At its peak around 1532, it stretched over 2,500 miles along South America's west coast from modern-day Colombia all the way to Chile. That's larger than the distance from New York to Los Angeles. It included parts of 6 modern countries and was home to about 12 million people. Its capital city, Cusco, still exists in Peru today. Now, what's really amazing is that the Inca built their empire in one of the hardest places on Earth, the Andes Mountains. This is the second highest mountain range in the world, with extreme weather and super steep cliffs everywhere. Yet the Inca thrived here. They built cities, roads, and farms on steep mountain slopes. How did they do it? Even more impressive, the empire only lasted about 100 years, from 1438 to 1533. In that short time, they created one of history's most incredible civilizations. They called their empire Tawantinsuyo, which means the 4 regions united. Let's talk about the most famous Inca site, Machu Picchu. This is a city built on a mountain ridge 8,000 feet above sea level. It's often called the lost city of the Incas because after the empire fell, it was hidden in the jungle for 400 years. It was until 1911 that an American explorer named Hiram Bingham was led to the ruins by local guides. The world was stunned. Here are some incredible facts. The Inca built Machu Picchu without wheels, horses, or iron tools. They used bronze and stone tools to cut and move massive granite blocks. And these stones fit together so perfectly that you can't even slide a knife blade between them. No cement was used, just pure precision. This makes their buildings super earthquake resistant. When a quake happens, the stones just dance and then settle back into place. We still don't know exactly what Machu Picchu was for. Was it a royal home for an emperor? A sacred religious site? An astronomical observatory? We do know it took about 100 years to build and was mysteriously abandoned around 1572. Today, it's one of the new 7 wonders of the world. The Inca were master engineers. They built over 25,000 miles of roads, which is even longer than the entire Roman road system. These weren't easy, flat roads either. They went over mountains higher than 16,000 feet, through deserts, and along steep cliff edges. To cross deep canyons, they wove bridges from grass. These suspension bridges could be over 150 feet long and were strong enough for people and llamas to cross. One of these bridges is still rebuilt every single year using traditional methods for over 500 years. To farm on steep mountains, the Inca carved giant steps, called terraces, into the hillsides. This created flat farming space and prevented the soil from washing away. They also built amazing aqueducts and canals to bring water from mountain streams down to their cities and farms. Some of these 500-year-old water systems still work, and they're stonework. It's like a 3D puzzle. Some stones have up to 12 angles, yet they fit perfectly with all the stones around them. The Inca Empire was ruled by an all-powerful emperor called the Sapa Inca, which means the only Inca. He was believed to be a living god, a son of the sun god Indi. He had absolute power, wore special clothes that no one else could wear, and never wore the same outfit twice. The greatest emperor was Pachacuti, whose name means earth shaker. He expanded the empire and had Machu Picchu built. The government was super organized. People were grouped into units of 10, 100, and 1,000 families, each with a leader. All citizens had to contribute labor to the empire each year, which was called the Mida system. This could mean building roads, serving in the army, or farming. In return, the government provided food during hard times and took care of the elderly and sick. It was one of the most organized societies in history. So, what was daily life like? Most Inca were commoners, farmers, herders, and craftspeople who lived in simple, one-room stone houses with no windows to keep warm. Their diet was full of potatoes. They grew over 200 kinds, plus corn, quinoa, and beans. They didn't use money. Instead, They traded goods. Clothing was made from llama or alpaca wool, and the quality of your clothes showed your social status. Kids learned their parents' trades from a young age and became adults at 14 in a special ceremony. Weaving was incredibly important. Women were expert weavers, and fine textiles were so valuable they were sometimes used like money. The Inca religion was all about nature. Their most important god was Inti, the sun god. The Sapa Inca was believed to be his son. Other major gods included Mamaquilla, the moon goddess, and Pachamama, Mother Earth, who is still worshipped by people in the Andes today. The Inca made offerings of food, textiles, and precious metals to their gods. Their temples were magnificent, especially the Caricanca in Cusco, which had walls covered in sheets of gold. The most important festival was Inti Raymi, the Festival of the Sun, which is still celebrated in Cusco every June. Here's something fascinating. The Inca didn't have a written language like we do. Instead, they used Quipu. These were knotted strings used to record information. Different colored strings, and the types and positions of the knots, all had different meanings. They recorded population numbers, taxes, and maybe even stories and history. Special officials called Quipucameocs were trained to read them. While we can decode the numbers, the rest of the Quipu's secrets are still a mystery waiting to be solved. The Inca relied heavily on Andean animals. Llamas were the most important. They were used to carry goods and provided wool, meat, and fuel. Alpacas were raised for their super soft wool, and the wild vicua had the finest wool of all, reserved only for the emperor. Guinea pigs were raised for food, and the giant Andean condor was a sacred animal representing power and freedom. The city of Cusco was even designed in the shape of a puma, a symbol of strength. Without llamas, the Inca Empire simply couldn't have existed in the high mountains. The Inca made incredible achievements in many areas. They developed a freeze-drying technique for potatoes that's still used today. Their doctors performed successful brain surgery, using coca leaves as a painkiller. They built observatories to track the stars and created an accurate calendar. Their earthquake-resistant architecture still amazes engineers. They created the finest weavings in the Americas and were masters at working with gold and silver. They achieved all this in less than 100 years. Imagine what they could have done with more time. Sadly, the mighty Inca Empire came to a sudden and tragic end. In 1532, Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro arrived with just 168 men. How could so few conquer millions? First, European diseases like smallpox arrived before the Spanish, killing millions of Inca who had no immunity. Second, a civil war between the brothers for the throne had weakened the empire. Third, the Spanish had guns, steel swords, and horses, which the Inca had never seen. Pizarro tricked the Inca emperor, Atahualpa, capturing him and executing him even after a massive ransom of gold was paid. By 1533, the empire had fallen, though some Inca resisted for decades more. It's one of history's saddest stories. Although the Inca Empire ended, Inca culture lives on. About 10 million people still speak Quechua, the Inca language. Millions of their descendants in the Andes maintain traditional ways of life, from farming on ancient terraces to celebrating festivals like Inti Raymi. Machu Picchu is now one of the world's most famous tourist sites. The Inca inspire us with their engineering genius, their respect for nature, and their ability to thrive in extreme conditions. They prove that amazing innovation can happen anywhere. Today we climb the Andes to discover the amazing Inca Empire. From building Machu Picchu without wheels to creating 25,000 miles of roads, from using keeper knots to record information to developing over 200 kinds of potatoes, the Inca were incredible innovators. They show us that with creativity, organization, and determination, humans can accomplish amazing things. When you eat potatoes or quinoa, you're experiencing Inca contributions to the world. Which part of the Inca Empire amazed you most? Machu Picchu, the rope bridges, or the Quipu? Ask your parents to leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more incredible history adventures. Hit that like button if you loved learning about the Inca. Thanks for watching. Young historians, there's so much more to explore.